Students don't like school because the mind is not designed for thinking. In fact, your brain wants to save you from thinking. Thinking is slow, effortful, and unreliable. Consider your ability to see. Your visual system can instantly take in a complex scene, but your brain cannot instantly solve a complex problem. You don't have to try to see, but thinking takes concentration. You can perform other tasks while you see, but you can't think about something else while you work on a problem. Your visual system seldom makes mistakes, and when it does, you usually think you see something very similar to what is actually out there. You're close, if not exactly right. Your thinking system may not even get close. Your solution to a problem may be far from correct. In fact, you may not produce an answer at all. People enjoy solving problems if they are successful, but if problems are always too difficult, people get frustrated and give up. Most of the problems you face are ones you've solved before, so you just do what you've done in the past. We normally think of memory as storing personal events and facts. Your memory also stores procedures to guide what you should do, like where to turn when you're driving home. One way that your brain saves you from having to think is by changing. If you repeat the same thought-demanding task again and again, it will eventually become automatic. Your brain will change so that you can complete the task without thinking about it. Despite the fact that people are not good at thinking, they still like to. Because thinking is so hard, the conditions have to be right for curiosity to thrive, and people tend to quit thinking easily. So what makes people want to think? It all has to do with the difficulty of the problem. If the problem is too easy, people will not feel they've accomplished anything by solving it. If it is too difficult, people are likely to get frustrated and stop thinking altogether. The problem with the right level of difficulty gives the person the satisfaction of answering the questions without irritating them to the point of giving up. So how does thinking work? Successful thinking relies on 4 factors: information from the environment, facts in the long-term memory, procedures in the long-term memory, and space in the working memory. If any one of these is inadequate, thinking will likely fail. To answer the important question of how we as teachers can help students enjoy school, here are a few tips. Be sure lesson plans include problems to be solved. It is very easy to get into lecture mode and spend the entire class period standing up and talking. Plan ahead and include exercises that allow students to exercise their brains and engage in problem-solving activities. Respect students' limited knowledge and space in their working memory. When trying to develop effective mental challenges for students, keep in mind their limitations. If they do not have the background knowledge to engage in a problem, they will not find it interesting. Also, keep in mind that students can only retain a limited amount of new information at a time. Keep a slow pace for the class and utilize memory aids such as writing on the blackboard. Identify key questions and ensure that problems are solvable. How can you make a problem interesting? A common strategy is to make the material relevant to your students. This can be challenging since each student is different. Keep in mind that it is the question that grabs people's attention, not the answer. Reconsider when to puzzle students. Teachers often try to draw students into a lesson by presenting a problem they believe interests the students, or by conducting a demonstration or presentation of a fact that they think the students will find surprising. In either case, the goal is to puzzle students to make them curious. This is a useful technique, but it's worth considering whether these strategies might also be used not only at the beginning of the lesson, but after the basic concepts have been learned. Act on variations in student preparation. Not all students will come to your class equally prepared to do well. They will each have different knowledge bases as well as different levels of support at home, and they will differ in their current abilities. Assign work to individuals or groups of students that is appropriate to their current level of competence. Support students depending on how challenging you think they will find the assignment. Naturally, one wants to do this with Naturally, one wants to do this in a sensitive way, minimizing the extent to which the students will perceive themselves as being behind the others. But the fact is that they are behind the others. Giving them work that is beyond them is unlikely to help them catch up, and is more likely to make them fall farther behind. Change the pace. Change grabs attention. When you change topics, start a new activity, or in some other way show that you are shifting gears, virtually every student's attention comes back to you. Plan for these shifts and monitor your class's attention to see whether you need to make them more often or less frequently. Keep a diary. Don't expect that you will remember how well a lesson plan worked last year. When a lesson goes well or goes down in flames, it feels that we will never forget what happened. But the fact is, you will, so write it down. Even if it's just a scribble on a sticky note, try to make a habit of recording your success and gauging the level of difficulty in the problems you give your students. To summarize, the core idea presented in this article is that solving problems gives people pleasure, but the problem must be easy enough to be solved, yet difficult enough that it takes some mental effort. Finding this sweet spot of difficulty is not easy.